You're all going to die.
This is Nikolas Cruz, who's facing 17 counts of murder and 17 counts of attempted murder in Parkland, Florida.
Hello. My name is Nick, and I'm going to be the next school shooter of 2018. My goal is at least 20 people with an AR-15 and a couple tracer rounds. I think I can get it done. It's going to be a big event.
Cruz detailed his entire plan in a series of videos days before the massacre.
Today is the day that it all begins. The day of my massacre shall begin. Alright, so here's the plan. I'm gonna go take an Uber in the afternoon before 2:40. From there, I'll go onto school campus, walk up the stairs, unload my bags, and get my AR and shoot people down at the main courtyard. I'll wait, and people will die.
On February 14th, 2018, Cruz hid the gun in a guitar case and snuck it into the school. Once he was in the stairwell, he took the gun out, and then he got caught by a student. Cruz told that student, "Get out of here. Things are about to get bad." Without saying a word, the student left and avoided what was about to become one of the worst school shootings in Florida history.
Holy. Oh my God!
Cruz fatally shot 17 people and wounded another 17 before escaping to a nearby park, where police caught him.
What's going on today, bro?
The demons, man.
Demons?
Voices.
Yeah, no problem.
Voices.
Voices and demons?
Where's the voices? What the? Where am I? Holy! What happened?
He tried to convince the officers he was mentally ill, but they didn't take the bait.
What happened?
Shut up.
Just be quiet, man.
During interrogation, Cruz still tried to play crazy.
What are the demons?
Voices.
Well, tell me about it. What are the voices about?
It's another voice, the evil side.
Never. And what does the voice say to you? Well, what does it tell you to do?
Burn, kill, destroy.
I mean, look. It's
me and then my bad side.
I understand. Everybody's got a quote good and bad side. There's people.
No, it's a voice. The voice is in here, and it's me. Just regular me. Just trying to be a good person.
Okay.
The detectives didn't buy it, of course, and 5 days later during the trial, neither did the families.
You're a bastard, you're a freaking animal.
He is a sociopath that does not deserve to live amongst us. That creature has no redeemable value, and the other prisoners that you will encounter in your new life will inflict that pain upon you, hopefully 17 times over again, until you're screaming for mercy, just like your victims.
And Parkland murder, I hope your maker sends you directly to hell to burn for the rest of your eternity.
Meanwhile, Cruz was as cold as ever. But after all this, Cruz still had to face his judgment.
Count 1 of the indictment, the murder in the first degree of Luke Hoyer, the court imposes a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole.
He'll spend his life in jail. You see, Cruz had no remorse for his crimes, but nothing can compare to making obscene sexual remarks about the victims in front of a judge. This is TJ Lane, a 17-year-old facing 3 counts of aggravated murder, 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, and 1 count of assault in Ohio. On February 27, 2012, Lane was having breakfast in the school's cafeteria when out of nowhere, he snapped.
Jordan High School, we had shots fired, gunshots, multiple gunshots.
Lane walked up to a random table and started shooting. He hit 6 students before his would-be victim started fighting back.
I just want to say that I'm sorry to the families, to the victims. I wish I could have done more.
This man, Frank Hall, came running when he heard the shots and attacked Lane. Other teachers jumped in and held him until police arrived. As soon as Lane walked into court, he started acting up. He slowly unbuttoned his shirt to reveal that he had written the word killer on his white undershirt. And when it was time for victim testimony, he did the unthinkable.
I will have to eventually forgive you. Otherwise, you will haunt me. You will never, ever be in my thoughts after this. Never.
Unkind, harsh prison life with monsters like yourself.
Lane could barely hold his laughter, but that doesn't even compare to what he does next.
Saying pull the trigger, feel he's done. You know, basically not ready. Love you.
In the end, he was given 3 life sentences without parole. But if you thought things ended there, think again.
Here's what we know right now. TJ Lane and another prisoner, 45-year-old Clifford Opperud, escaped from the prison tonight around 7:40.
That's right, barely 1 year into his lifelong prison sentence. Lane and another prisoner built ladders out of cabinets and climbed over the prison wall, but he didn't make it very far.
Good morning. Police apprehended Lane about 100 yards from the perimeter of the fence. He was in a cornfield, is what we understand. They're still trying to figure out how all of this went down. But here in Chardon, Ohio, a very disturbing and a long night for residents here, because this is the place, Chardon, Ohio High School, where TJ Lane caused such havoc. They're trying to figure out how he somehow broke loose.
They caught him hiding in a cornfield, and then Lane was transferred to a different high-security prison. This man almost escaped his fate. But how can that compare to a killer who does escape and then comes back? This is Timothy Simkins, an 18-year-old charged with attempted capital murder in Texas. On October 26, 2021, Timothy got into a fist fight with a classmate. Simkins is the one in the white hoodie. It was clear he was losing the fight, but he had a secret weapon, literally. CCTV caught students bolting from the classroom after he started shooting. One of those students was the one he fought with. Simkins chased him into the hallway and shot him mercilessly while the student tried to escape into the bathroom. Simkins then ran to his car and escaped, throwing the gun out of the window on his way home. But the police were hot on his trail.
Police searched that apartment. This is where they tell us the 18-year-old Timothy George Simkins drove to moments after the shooting. But
he wasn't at the apartment. He was gone. However, less than an hour later, he arrived at the police station with his lawyer, ready to turn himself in. In court, Simkins couldn't hold back the tears.
I understand what I did was wrong. Very, very wrong. And I'm sorry. I truly am sorry. I just asked for another chance.
He asked for mercy, but would the jury listen?
We, the jury, find the defendant, Timothy George Simkins, guilty of the offense of criminal attempt to commit capital murder as charged in the indictment.
The judge gave him 12 years for attempted murder. Simkins' family didn't take the news well.
That's not right! This is not right! We are angry and upset. This young brother did not get a fair trial.
Nevertheless, Simkins will be in jail until 2036. Now, his parents were devastated to learn what their son did. But what has to happen for the parents to be convicted right alongside the killer? This is Ethan Crumbley, a 15-year-old with 24 charges, including first-degree murder, terrorism, and misuse of a weapon. On November 30th, 2021, Crumbley came to school with a 9mm semi-automatic in his backpack. Once the bell rang for passing period, and students flooded the halls, Crumbley opened fire.
Oxford High School. The scene is not secure. Possible multiple injuries. Getting as many ALS units as we can. Neighboring communities put out as a mass casualty, please.
The students scattered, locking their classroom doors, just like they practiced in drill.
I just assume like it's an Alice drill. You know, because we do these every once in a while. And then moments later, my teacher's making calls. And then eventually he's like, all right, guys, this is a real lockdown. And in all these group chats, they're saying, he has a gun, he shot people, this, that. And I'm hearing all this stuff. I'm like, all right, this is real.
Crumbley shot anyone he could see, but when all the students had escaped and locked the doors, he started shooting blindly into the classrooms, hoping to hit someone.
We made this barricade, and there was a bullet hole that shot through our door.
The roads to the high school were blocked by ice and traffic, making it hard for police to send help.
Yes! Sheriff's office! Nick, come out!
Yeah, he said it's safe to come on.
In most U.S. schools, there are master keys in the principal's office that can open a locked classroom door. For that reason, students are taught never to open the door, not even if they think it's police, because sometimes it's a killer in disguise.
No, we're not willing to take that risk right now. I can't hear you. We're not taking that risk right now. Okay, well, come to the door. Look at my bag, bro.
No. Yeah, bro.
No, I said bro.
He said bro. Red flags.
Fearing for their lives, the students jumped out through the window to escape. They ran to the front of the school, only to realize that an officer was standing at the front door. The police had arrived. The coast was clear. Once arrested, Crumbley broke. Or did he?
Why did you deserve it? You let it out for you. I'm sorry, please, God.
He seemed to be going through a mental breakdown, but some people thought it was just for show.
Really relax.
In court, however, Crumbley had a change of heart.
I am a really bad person. I have done terrible things that no one should ever do. I have lied, been not trustworthy. I've hurt many people.
Crumbley accepted his wrongdoing, but it didn't help his case.
Sentence of the court is that defendant shall serve life without the possibility of parole.
The judge gave him life without parole, but the trial isn't over. The court would put a warrant for the arrest of Crumbley's parents on the basis that they illegally gifted Ethan, who was 15 at the time, a handgun for Christmas, the same one he used to kill his classmates. They even taught him how to shoot it. The parents went into hiding, and the police put out a bolo for their car. They might have gotten away if it wasn't for this.
The Oakland shooter, the kid, has the two parents that are on the run right now, and they said, Oakland County said, call if you see anything. And I just went to go park my car and switch it around at my office. I'm at my office, and there was a Kia that looked like their car, and I walked around and checked the license plate, and it's their car, and the woman is here next to the car.
Within minutes, police raided the area.
Turn around. I'm just talking to you. Get on your look,
They were found with $6,000 in cash. The police brought them to court, where they would finally face justice.
It is the sentence of this court that you serve 10 to 15 years with the Michigan Department of Corrections.
The parents will both face 10 to 15 years, while their son will be in prison for life. Crumbley may have accidentally taken his parents down with him, but how does that one compare to someone who targets their parents on purpose? This is Jesse Osborne, charged with 2 counts of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder in South Carolina. Osborne was only 14 years old, but he knew exactly what he wanted. His goal was to beat Adam Lanza, the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooter who took 26 lives. Osborne's goal, 40 lives. He bought those guns illegally online, practiced shooting them, and even watched and recorded videos that featured animals being tortured. With minutes left before his killing rampage, he had just one more thing to prepare.
Your hair straight whenever you go shoot someplace up, Gotta look fabulous, Gotta look fabulous.
Minutes later, Jesse shot his father to death inside of their home, and then headed for the nearest elementary school where he shot 6-year-old Jacob Hall while he was playing on the playground.
He just opened up the first grade door and started shooting.
In court, Hall's teacher describes what happened.
He said, Miss Sanchez, my leg hurts. Something's wrong with my leg. Jacob was laying there lifeless, and there was blood all around.
The 6-year-old stayed in the ER for days, but ultimately passed away.
Yesterday, our community, we experienced a very devastating and life-changing event. We're going to feel this for a real long time.
Nobody knew Osborne's motive, not even Osborne.
I would just like to say that I wish this would have never happened. I don't exactly know why I did this, but I just ask that you give me hope for a future and get me help, because I do need help. I just want help. I'll do whatever you say.
Then it was time for Osborne to learn his fate.
So the sentence is going to be life in prison for the murders. It's going to be 30 years on the attempted murders. We got 10 days to improve. Good luck.
Thank you.
Osborne somehow got his own gun, despite being a minor. But what happens when a school shooter is equipped with pipe bombs? This is Dimitrios Pagourtzis, charged with multiple counts of capital murder and aggravated assault of a public servant in Santa Fe, Texas. On May 18, 2018, Pagourtzis wore his long trench coat to school like he did every day. Except something was different about today. Underneath his coat, he had his father's gun and knife. At 7:32 a.m. during art class, he shot 16-year-old Shayna Fisher, who had rejected him just a week earlier. Then he started shooting at random. School security would call 911 for backup.
He's actually shooting. He's in the art room. We're at shot spot right now, guys. We need all of you.
But by the time backup arrived, the security officer had been shot. Officers hunted down Dimitrios until he finally surrendered. Little did they know things weren't over yet.
There are bomb technicians with Harris County and ATF here at the high school and also at several homes dealing with what they call explosive devices.
That's right. Dimitrios had hidden makeshift CO2 bombs in the school, and thankfully, officers found them before they exploded. In court, Pagourtzis was cold and emotionless. This is what one of the victim's parents said.
I was looking at him to see if I could see some remorse, and I didn't get it.
The trial is still ongoing, but if he's convicted, he could face life in prison. Meanwhile, he's been held in a mental health facility, awaiting trial. Pagourtzis didn't stop shooting until officers forced him to. Let's compare this to when a school shooter simply gives up. This is Buche, charged with terrorism, aggravated assault with a firearm, and possession of a firearm on school property in Ocala, Florida.
My first memory is violence and conflict. That's my first memory.
Buche didn't have a happy childhood, but he was determined to make something of his life.
I was going to join the Marine Corps, but I was Baker acted at 14 years old.
Now there was one small problem. He had received emergency treatment for his mental health in the past under Florida's Baker Act, and that set him up for the biggest rejection of his life.
I haven't gone to the recruiters yet. Then I went to the recruiters and, they told me, like, if you Baker acted or did any drugs, like, we can't take you. And that's when I flipped out and just, dropped out.
After that, Buche dropped out of school. He didn't know how to receive more help for his mental illness. Until this.
The news was showing this after the Valentine's Day massacre in Parkland.
Buche was inspired by Nikolas Cruz, so he planned his own massacre.
I got a sawed-off shotgun. I put it in a guitar case. And I also had a tactical vest filled with shotgun slug rounds.
And then it was time.
The excitement built and it built and it built. And I realized there's no resource officers around. There's no one to stop me like I thought there would be. And I just got into the bathroom. I took my time putting on my gloves, my tactical vest.
But something just felt off.
And then as soon as I stepped out the bathroom, the excitement just like went to like a dead halt. And it felt like this disgusting feeling came over me. Like I didn't know what to do, just confused.
And then a classmate found him.
I put it down because there was a girl there. She didn't run from me. She just, I shot through the door. I could have shot her, but I don't know. I just couldn't do it. So I just shot through the door. She was walking and crying and walking away, and that just made me just throw down the gun instead of bumping it. Instead of shooting more doors, I stopped. And I gave myself to a teacher.
Buche waited for the inevitable.
Down on the ground.
X-ray 1 to where? 51 out 51.
What the hell? Put your hands behind your back.
Buche didn't put up any fight. He pled guilty in court, but was denied bail, and eventually was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Buche had given himself up to the cops, but how does that compare to a shooter whose whole plan is to have the cops kill him? This is Andy Williams, charged with 2 counts of murder, 13 counts of attempted murder, and multiple counts of assault with a firearm in Santee, California. Early March of 2001, 15-year-old Andy was in the bathroom of his high school. He had been dealing with bullying and suicidal thoughts for years, and today was the day he planned to end his life. This was his plan.
I didn't want to go out hurting. I didn't want to be the one to kill myself. You know what I mean? Because everything to me was so painful at the time. I didn't want to go out in pain
My grand scheme, like my grand plan was suicide by cop.
So he stole his dad's pistol, waited till he was in the bathroom with other kids, and then started shooting. Senior Randy Gordon and freshman Brian Zucker were shot and killed, and 13 others were wounded. Within 3 minutes, police were at the scene. Williams was arrested, alive. In court, Williams was remorseless. He was sentenced to 50 long years for that shooting. But just after 10 years in jail, he says he's a changed man.
I didn't really think all that stuff through. I didn't think 2 boys were going to die. I didn't think 13 people were going to get shot. I just thought I was going to make a lot of noise and that the cops were going to show up.
Even though he says he didn't mean to kill, there's one thing he acknowledges.
I would never, ever be able to undo the harm that I caused or ever make it right.
There's one question everyone wants to know. Why didn't Williams seek help?
I don't know, man. I think I was just ashamed to confront my failure. I don't want to let him know that my grades are slipping or that his son's a drug addict. You know what I mean? Those aren't things to be proud of.
The police saved countless lives that day. But what exactly happens when police are blocked from entering the school? This is Devon Erikson, who's charged with 46 counts, including murder, attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and supplying a juvenile with a handgun in Denver, Colorado. Erikson and his friend Alec McKinney waited until lunchtime to hatch their deadly plan. They both began shooting from different locations on campus, but they made a crucial mistake. They expected their classmates to run in fear, but not Kendrick Castillo.
18-year-old Kendrick Castillo is being hailed a hero today. He was shot to death when he tackled Erikson as he tried to save the lives of classmates.
And there's another thing they forgot. Just a block away from the school lies a police station. They heard the shots and were at the campus within 2 minutes.
Roll units, we have a shooter in room 107.
Shots fired.
When they arrived, the whole school was on lockdown, meaning the officers couldn't get in. At first, they were hesitant to break school property, but their boss didn't care.
I've told them before, I can replace all the windows in every school in this district. Okay? I can't replace any kids.
Officers shot at the glass and broke into the school. At times, they were forced to hack doors down with an axe. Eventually, they found Erikson being held down by 2 students. In another hallway, they found his partner, McKinney, who had been subdued by the school's safety officer. Officers scared Erikson into confessing, but he would lie.
How many shooters do you have?
2. There's 2, yeah.
Why?
He was making me give him all the stuff, and that was me. I was just supposed to officers because it was the only way he was going to let me live.
He tried framing it on McKinney, but in reality, Erikson was the one who gave McKinney the gun. In court, McKinney threw the blame back on Erikson.
The end of the plan was that he was, after everyone besides him and myself was dead in that classroom, he was going to then shoot me to make it look like he attempted to save everyone. And then ultimately he wanted to come off as the hero.
McKinney was sentenced to life in prison. Meanwhile, it was time for Erikson to learn his fate.
I have to also select a sentence in length and level of supervision that addresses your individual characteristics and reduces the potential that you will engage in criminal conduct after completing your sentence. Everyone's pointed out this is a life without parole sentence on count 1. So you won't be completing this sentence. And when you do, you will not be committing criminal offenses.
Both shooters will spend the rest of their lives in jail. But how does that compare to a killer who's about to get a chance to walk free? This is Michael Carrell, who's facing 3 counts of murder and 5 counts of attempted murder in Kentucky. Carrell was 14 when he walked into the lobby of a health high school and opened fire on a small prayer group. 3 students were killed and 5 others injured before police arrived. Carrell was arrested and brought to court, where he said the voices made him do it. Since he admitted his guilt, there was nothing left for the judge to do except sentence him to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 25 years. But that was 25 years ago, and Carrell wants to be released.
Mr. Carrell, do you believe you deserve an opportunity of parole today?
I don't know that, honestly. I mean, it depends on when you ask me. Sometimes I think, that I would just deserve to be killed. Sometimes I think that, honestly. And other times I think that due to the fact that I could do some good for a lot of people, maybe, that it would be beneficial if I were released someday. And I would like to do something in the future that would contribute to society.
Even though he still hears voices, he said he wouldn't kill anyone again.
I know now that that's not something that I should do, and I'm able to not do it and rationalize that it's not something that I should do, and what I'm hearing is not real.
His victims don't believe him.
Still don't understand why he even has the option of parole.
Too many what ifs to assume that he could be responsible enough to take care of himself and to not let his mental illness cause him to harm anyone again. Continuing his life in prison is the only way his victims can feel comfortable and safe without being haunted by the what ifs.
Only one man's rooting for Carrell's release, a man he shot in the head 25 years ago.
Michael Carrell has spent almost 2/3 of his life incarcerated for his actions as a child. He's now an adult in prison serving time for the actions of a child. I have to think that after 25 years, he is a different person than he was that day.
Then it was time to make a decision. Will the officers set him free?
Due to the seriousness of your crime involved a weapon, you had lives taken, and the seriousness, again, it is the decision of the parole board today to allow you to serve out the remainder of your sentence. Thank you, sir.
Carrell will never see daylight again.